Using examples from the lives of some of the 20th century's greatest scientists, men of genius, Kathleen Murray's presentations inspire audiences to maximize their contributions to their organizations, their families, and their lives. Kathleen is a charismatic and knowledgeable speaker who represented the Salk Institute for Biological Studies as a public speaker and managed the offices of Dr. Jonas Salk and 3 Nobel laureates. In her presentations, she enthusiastically shares what she has learned from them about imagination, inspiration, focus, and commitment.
Imagine what it would be like to ride on a beam of light. Yes, yes, close your eyes and imagine what it would be like to take a ride on a beam of light. A young boy on a train ride from Germany to Switzerland was grappling with the mysteries of space and time. And he was particularly interested in the concept of the speed of light. And he thought, what better way to understand the speed of light than to imagine taking a ride alongside the beam? And he did just that. And from that youthful imagination, he eventually developed his theory of relativity, which forever made the name Einstein synonymous with genius. And throughout his life, Einstein was aware of the fact that that was a very important moment, and he used thinking in pictures as a way of working and dealing with the mysteries that he went on to solve. I have throughout my life had the incredible opportunity and the honor of working with some of the finest scientific minds of the 20th century. Most well known, perhaps, by most people would be Dr. Jonas Salk, the developer of the polio vaccine, and Dr. Francis Crick, who, along with James Watson, developed the beautiful, elegant double helical structure of DNA. When people find out that I worked with these famous men, the question invariably asked is, what are they like, these men of genius? How are they alike? That may seem an easy question to answer, but during the years that I worked with them, I realized that there are some absolutely fascinating similarities in all of these men. And I want to talk about it today. But first of all, I'd like to ask you a question. What is a genius? Is an IQ of 140, or does an IQ of 160 or 175 certify genius? I have no doubt that there are people in this audience who have an IQ of 140. And by some standards, that's approaching genius level. Perhaps it's just people who excel in a certain field. We say, he is a genius at the guitar. She's a genius at math. Or perhaps Webster's dictionary definition, which says, genius is someone of exalted intelligence. Well, certainly, I don't think any of us can dispute any of those definitions of genius. However, I do know that to sustain genius takes more than exalted intelligence or neurons that are firing just a little bit better than the person sitting next to you. Genius takes being in touch and holding on to that audacious imagination of childhood. Obviously, they had exalted intelligence. They also had nurturing of parents and teachers and communities that cared. And they devoted their lives to this work. But in the final analysis, when they discovered that beautiful, elegant structure, they did it by putting their feet up on the desk and imagining it. Einstein said, knowledge is not as important as imagination. Einstein said knowledge is limited. Imagination isn't. What did you imagine when you were a child? Perhaps you imagined that you would be an astronaut. And somebody said to you, well, that's absurd. So few people become an astronaut, you better find something else to do. And your dream got smaller. Or perhaps you wanted to be a dancer. And you were then struck with a disease that forever made that impossible. And your dream got smaller. Imagine what it would be like to spare the suffering and pain and death of little children. A very, very small, empathetic child growing up in a poor immigrant community in New York City watched the suffering around him, and he saw little children dying from influenza and from polio. And he went home and he said to his parents, when I grow up, I want to do something to alleviate the pain. His poor immigrant family did everything they could to make sure he had the finest education. When he got to school, he had the nurturing of the big medical and scientific community. And he worked on the problems of influenza and then the problems of polio. Dr. Salk said that he imagined what it would be like to be a virus living inside a human body. That's what he took to his lab. He took that audacious imagination of childhood. I will do something to help these people.